Power's off.
Yeah.
So then you turn the power switch on in the back right corner. And it takes a little bit to boot up. Automatically comes up with what the last mix was, whatever you had when you turned it off. It automatically comes on to what it was at when you turned it off. It saves it, and
So you don't have to manually save the last settings.
no,
It automatically
it comes back with whatever it was set at when you turned it off.
So you don't have to specifically save the board configuration before you power it off. When you power the board back on, it will automatically return to the last configuration before it was powered off. And you notice that it came on with the main mix button highlighted. So what you're looking at here is the main mix.
So I should be ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Yep, all you gotta do is turn your faders to what you want them to be.
We have two sets of inputs now. We have the set of inputs that originally was coming into this board, plus we have these 4 suspended condenser microphones to pick up the sound from the congregation, right? They are hanging from the ceiling, and those mics will be picking up sound from the congregation. So those microphones will not be part of the mix, the sound mix that goes to these main speakers. Instead, those microphones will be fed as part of a separate mix through this new board so that it will be heard by the people who are viewing this online. That way, people who are viewing it online will get a more realistic experience in hearing feedback from the congregation. Those are the inputs coming into this board. They're the standard inputs, the wireless mics, computer, and those are represented. These are all input channels. Yep. And this is the main output. So the main outs then from this board go to the computer as the audio input, which is then fed through the Wirecast software to the online viewers. With respect to the specific channels, do you want to talk about how they're laid out in here?
Channels 1 through 8 are the exact same as 1 through 8. So everything on 1 through 8 is 1 through 8. And then 13, 14, 15, 16 is 11, 12, and 13, 14 are the same as well. And then 9 through 12 are your 4 microphones, your 4 hanging microphones.
What comes out here?
The same as what comes out of there. That is BP2, HH2, BP1, HH1, AS1, whatever you have routed. Like, I don't know your individual channels. I didn't set that up.
It all feeds through after it's been adjusted through here, and through here. The output goes out the main channel, and that's what goes to the live stream through Wirecast.
Right.
We split those microphone inputs so that they're mirrored on this board, right? So the same settings with a couple of exceptions, right, that Philip mentioned. And he pointed out that here on these lighted areas, the same labels appear, right, that you see on this board with the tape. These 4 channels here, 9, 10, 11, and 12, are the microphones. You notice they're labeled front left, front right, back left, and back right. And that points to the particular microphone hanging above the congregation. So these faders are the ones that adjust the levels for those condenser mics. These faders.
Those are your 16 channels on this page. You can go through and do all your EQ and dynamics and all that on there. You can do the same to your main output if you need to do it to your main output. You can select any channel and you can see whatever you want to, what that channel is set up to do, compression, EQ, high pass, low pass, all the different filters that PreSonus offers on each channel, plus their fat channel features. You can use those as well. All that feeds to the main fader, which feeds to the computer.
Go back to what you said, just to repeat.
Select the channel with the blue. And then you have your gate, your compressor, and your EQ for that channel. You turn the processor on and off with the on-off button. This should be pretty much identical the way you use it on the other board. Just a little bit different layout.
Yeah, the buttons are laid out differently. And you said you could go to the
There's an effects if you want to add effects.
Add effects for each channel. And again, all we're selecting up here is on a per channel basis.
This is not.
No?
This is per channel.
Okay.
This is the main, this is the effects for everything.
Okay, so that's applied to the mains on the output, okay?
Well, no, this is applied to what you send to it. So you have to go and find your effects A. If you hit effects A, now you're sending it to effects A, and then this is how you would edit it. Whereas your main mix is, there's your main mix.
The changes that are made in this part of the board are applied to the whole system, not on a per channel basis. The per channel changes that he went through are in this part of the board, right? And they are applied by selecting the channel, right? Selecting the channel, going to look at the gate, compression, EQ. These are on a channel by channel basis. If you want to change the effects, you would press the effects A button, for example. There are effects A, B, C, and D, each of which can be individually configured. And you change them by, after selecting the effects, going up here to the effects button, and then changing different characteristics in each of the effects channels. Touch panel's a little sensitive.
So you can change it to a different kind of effect if you want to change the effect. So, and that would be effect A, and then you could do the same to effect B, change it to a different effect. You have your 4 effects. And then if you wanted to send something to that effect, so if you wanted to add effects to that microphone, you would turn that volume up and it would send it to the effects, FXA.
Oh.
So you can have different effects defined in each of the A, B, and C channels and apply them differently.
I have a mic I want to put on. I want to put on the reverb on my mic because the singer always want. Could you put some reverb on my mic? Okay, let's go from step 1.
Now, bear in mind that this board is for what people hear online.
Right.
Okay, so the characteristics of the mix will be different for what you hear in the house than what you would set for the online listeners, right?
Very important.
But let's say that for some reason the online listeners wanted to hear reverb on 2 of the microphones, okay? So we could select effects A and say, okay, effects A will be how we apply reverb to microphones, okay? By selecting effects A, then we could go to the reverb. It's set though up
Okay.
here, right?
Okay.
This drop down menu, which is a little
I
touchy.
don't- Yeah.
There.
Okay.
See the drop down menu selects what effects A will be
Oh, I understand. now.
configuring, right? In this case, we selected vintage plate reverb.
But if you wanted like digital reverb, you would click on and it would bring up a digital reverb instead.
Right.
Okay.
But when you do that, you're saying, okay, effects A is going to be digital reverb.
And it'll stay on effects A until I change it.
Yes.
Exactly. So then, then what you would do is you would apply that reverb on a channel by channel basis. If you look at the input channels, you might add additional digital reverb to channel 1 and channel 4. And so what that does is that applies that particular type of reverb to those channels or to any combination of channels that you would select.
Different one on a different channel.
That's why you would use effect A for one type of effect, effects B for another type of effects, right? You might change delays on one of the effects, but so you have 4 that you can choose from, 4 different types of effects that you can define that can be applied individually to the input channels. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was told, like, if I put an effect, if I press this effect, and whichever volume I turn up, it'll have that effect on it.
Yes.
But what if I want one effect here and a different effect here?
And you would turn it down and you would go to effects B and you would turn it up in B.
Oh, so both of them cannot be up at the same time with different effects.
No. Effect A is one kind of effect.
Yeah.
Effect B is another kind of effect.
Right.
And you apply them to the channels that you want those effects to be applied to. But you can't have 2 different effects defined in FX
2 different
A,
channels.
for example. No, you can't.
Yeah.
So effect, let's say effect A
Yeah.
is reverb.
Right.
And let's say effect B is delay.
Right.
Okay? You can have delay and reverb applied to channel 1 by having channel 1 selecting effects A, reverb, and going to B and applying delay to that same channel.
Oh, okay.
So what that says is because you can define 4 different types of effect, you can have 4 different types of effect applied to a single channel.
You're gonna eventually have to set your EQ and your compression and your gates based on what it sounds like, but you'll have to have your singers here and
Right.
your
Do me
pastors here and
do
do
me a
it.
favor again. Walk me through. There's nothing said how to set an EQ.
Okay.
Okay.
Go back to the home screen. So you'll select the channel you want, and then EQ, and it brings up EQ on the screen, and then you move your dots to make it sound good. You can do it with the touch screen. You should be able to touch them. They're finicky, but you're supposed to be able to touch them, or you can do it with the knob. You can move the knob and move the dot to make it sound good.
Do you see how the dot's moving? His wrist is kind of
As
in the way.
As I move the knob, the dot moves, and you just make it sound good. And then you can move to the next dot and do the same thing.
Okay.
See, the
Change
color
it
of the dot corresponds to
with
the
the-
color of the button. You see that?
Main mix. Main mix is what you're mixing on. So when you click it, it brings up what's your main mix. And that is what's going to the stream.
So main mix is, this is the main output.
Master for the
Yep.
main mix.
Question. When we first come setting up to go live stream, is this the first after the power button? Is this the first button we hit?
It should just come up to that. That should be where it starts when you first
The
turn it
main
on.
mix.
But this should be already on
Yes,
because I just saw you turn it on.
because we were in effects.
Oh.
So to get out of effects, we went back to the main mix. So under scenes, press the scene button, it brings up a list of all your scenes that you've saved. And you can either store to record over top of it or recall to recall
What
it.
is a scene?
It's just what this currently looks like, it saves it.
Oh,
The-
okay.
The board configuration is a scene.
Okay, how do I save a scene? If I love a mix, how do I save that scene?
You would go and find an empty one that you want to use. You would press store, and then you would name it, and you would press enter. Now it's new project 2. It's saved.
And how do I, if I want to pull that up, how do I pull it back up later?
You would press recall.
Well, you would go first to scenes.
Well, yeah, you'd have to, wherever you are, you would go to scenes, you would pick the one you want, and you would hit recall. You could hit it there, or you could hit it here.
Right. So
And, okay. And it recalls it.
why that's important for a newbie is that means that it's okay to mess the board up because you have a baseline saved that you can always go back to. That baseline meaning maybe you have a scene set for Sunday worship, and Sunday morning, first thing when the board comes up, you go to that scene Sunday worship and you recall it, and the board is immediately at that baseline, and you know based on that all of the settings that you have already decided you needed to make for Sunday service online streaming. I think one of the biggest things that's going to have to happen, right, is levels, right? As you're monitoring the levels into Wirecast, you need to make sure that that the levels going into the computer from this board, and that's from this master channel.
And from the faders. You need a decent level there. And I don't know Wirecast to know where the mixer is in Wirecast. You would have to go into Wirecast.
What are CS1 and 2?
Computer. So that's the video that's playing on the computer right now.
So channels 15 and 16 are the computer stereo that will feed into Wirecast. So those levels and the overall level from the board to Wirecast will need to be adjusted according to how people hear it online.
The other thing you'll want to do is you'll want to listen to the headphones out of the computer and mix from the computer.
Oh, good thing.
Because you want to make sure what you're mixing to is what the computer is listening to and sending out.
So the headphones could sound different from here
They can than the
and
computer.
over there.
Hi, my name is Sid Miles. I'm with Brebrotech Incorporated. Brebrotech represents the brightest and broadest of AV technologies in the Tampa Bay area. My phone number is 813-468-7229. Our website is www.brebrotech.com. And we are in the business of helping churches to be the best they can be at a reasonable cost in audiovisual technologies.